Cowherd, should he be worried, though?
No. I mean, if the Cavs lost by 4, we wouldn't even have this discussion. But they got blown out, so you should be worried. Well, blowouts are the way the NBA works now with analytics. 37 of the 65 playoff games so far, and with the Warriors, we still have some blowouts happening, have been blowouts. So analytics are good and bad. They took away the huddle in football, games faster, I love it. More skilled shooters in the NBA, I love it. The downside is some of these games are over about 12 minutes in. I guarantee you Houston, Golden State, both teams are going to win or lose a game with a blowout. If it was a 5-point loss, what would we care?
Well, I'm concerned. I'm never going to jump off LeBron's bandwagon. I still think they'll win the series. I am concerned, though. I thought Jeff Van Gundy said something yesterday that kind of just opened my mind to the possibility that Boston could win this series. Because you take LeBron away, Boston has a better roster. Even with their injuries of Hayward and Kyrie Irving, possibly the second, third, and fourth best players are wearing Boston Celtics uniforms, and we certainly know who the best coach is in this series. So I'm concerned. I don't have LeBron. I'm not made of vibranium like LeBron, so I get why he's not worried. But me, I'm concerned and I'm worried.
I'm a little insulted by that comment by Jeff Van Gundy saying the second, third, and fourth best players are in the Celtics jersey, because we have to pay attention to the man that Kevin Love is, the NBA champion, and the consistency level that he's done throughout the duration of his career. So we cannot take a season and put them ahead of Kevin Love because he is better than them. He's just in a different role on his team. However, game one is generally a game of reads for LeBron James. He's seen every major coverage there is. He takes that game to try and compute what the defenses are throwing at him, how he's going to be able to take advantage of different defenses. And he kind of feels his way through that game. Sometimes you get great games, sometimes you get lackluster games. So I think his comment was necessary, and his comment is truly indicative of how he feels, because he's trying to look at how the series is going to be rather than trying to just dominate and take over game one and just give everything that he has. I think this series is going to be a series of adjustments, and I don't think Brad Stevens and their defense has many adjustments. They've shown their cards. They've shown how they're going to be able to play LeBron James. Now it's for him to figure out how to beat their defense and beat them in any way he can.
I think that's a great point about LeBron reading game one. That's why his numbers haven't been what they have. Looks like he's trying to get his teammates involved in all 3 of these game ones, and they haven't been able to do it, so they've been in trouble. What I will say is this. I think I've gone from 0 concern that Boston could win the series when it started to 10% concern because this is a different animal. Like we saw, so far it looks like Indiana. And we know that went 7. But this ain't Indiana, with all due respect.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, they have much better weapons. They don't just have Victor Oladipo. They got several guys that can hit the 3 and take you off the dribble. They obviously have a great coach who can get it done, and they have home court advantage. So if they went 7, I would pick LeBron because we've seen him with his back against the wall get it done. But I wouldn't want to go 7 with this Boston team just because they are gritty and smart, and I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Dahntay points something out. You've played with LeBron. He kind of surveys the field. Tom Brady's never had a great first quarter in 8 Super Bowls. None. I'm not even sure. Did they score it? He'd gone 7 Super Bowls with no points in the first quarter. Tom Brady's had great fourth quarters. You know, Muhammad Ali's not known for his first rounds. He's known for his 10th. I think these all-time greats, and LeBron's one, I think they kind of watch and say, what works, what doesn't. Then all of a sudden in the NBA, you're like, oh, God, we're down 24. And then it's over, and you're like, I'm going to pull back. I'm not going to show my cards on stuff.
My issue is vintage LeBron last night, they still lose, in my opinion. And that's what I'm worried about. Yeah, we know we're going to get a LeBron James-type performance moving forward. But I'm going to go back at you, the Kevin Love deal. Who would you rather have at both ends of the court, Al Horford or Kevin Love?
Kevin Love.
Jason Tatum at this point.
Kevin Love.
Honestly.
At both ends of the court.
I don't. What does Al Horford have, and what has he done more than Kevin Love at this point in time? Like,
I'm talking about in this series.
In this series right now?
Throw history out the window. Who's going to be a better performer at both ends of the court in this series?
I would rather have Kevin Love. I'd rather take championship DNA over what Al brings to the table.
You'd rather take the past than what we're going to see in this series.
Because everybody is judged upon their past when you're taking things into consideration.
Kevin can hit threes.
I think Kevin Love generally is the second best player in this series. He's had a better career than any of those guys on the Celtics. But these playoffs, he has been so inconsistent. That's my concern. I thought as the definitive second option now that he was going to be, virtually every night, you can scribble in 20 and 10 and know you're getting it. You haven't been able to do that with him.
Al Horford has definitely been their anchor. No disrespect to Al Horford. I'm not saying that he's a bad NBA player, anything of that nature. I would just rather have Kevin Love. I think they had one bad shooting performance, we've seen that it was their worst shooting performance of the season. I think shots that they didn't knock down, they're going to knock down. It's going to be a different game. It's coming down to that what is it? 4 for 26 from three, 15% from three. You're not going to win basketball games doing that.
Whitlock, both these guys play a lot of ISO ball. Will it work against the Warriors?
I'm someone that thinks Houston has a chance, a real solid chance, of taking this series 7 games and winning it. I think the only way they get there, though, is if they do adjust a little bit their style of play. If Chris Paul and James Harden just pat the ball at the top of the key and everybody just runs off in their little 4 corners or whatever, I just don't think that's going to work over the long haul against Golden State. You can't come out with a completely different style of play, but they need to adjust. They're going to have to pass the ball. It's like the least passing team in the NBA is not going to beat the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, Oklahoma City got bounced. They had 10 assists one game. So I don't think just the ISO works, but let people say, will it work against Golden State? Yes, but that doesn't mean it'll win. We're talking about the threes. Let me give you 2 other numbers, 4 and 2. The Warriors have 4 stars. Rockets have 2. Golden State should win the series because they have better players. We're looking at a team that we mention now among Magic and Kareem's Lakers.
You do.
And Michael and Pippen's Bulls. Well, I do. I think if you consider the legislation of the game, the three-point shot, this is the fastest scoring, most athletic, longest, best ball handling team in my life.
NBA we've ever seen.
Well, perhaps, but that's the league we have.
Golden State has 4 stars because they've won on a consistent basis. That's why they have 4 stars. They don't have 4 franchise-carrying players, no. But they have 4 people that work well together to create a championship-level team. So Houston has the ability to play in a myriad of different areas where they can play the ISO game, they can pass the ball, they can knock down threes. I think versus Golden State, their defense tends to put you in ISO situations because they switch most pick and rolls and they switch most things. You have to be able to ISO to be able to beat them. That's how we beat them to win our championship because we had 2 guys that can go ISO when they put you in those situations. If you don't have any ISO players, you can't beat them. That's what it comes down to. So I think Houston has a chance in 7 games to beat Golden State, and they are real. It's going to be a tough matchup.
You like their style of play against Golden State?
I like their style of play. I think they're made to play Golden State to beat them in the 7-game series. I think that's the way they put their roster together. I think they have enough defenders to be able to wear KD down and not be put in a situation where KD's just playing ISO basketball by himself on an island, one dribble pull-up everywhere. They have defenders that can go and make it tough for KD.
We're talking about Chris and James. They have to be at their best together for 5 or 6 games of this series. We haven't seen that much in the playoffs yet. James has been great. Chris has been bad or so-so. Chris has been great. James has been bad or so-so. They're going to need to combine greatness. But this goes beyond them. Eric Gordon has not been Eric Gordon. 18 points in the regular season, 13 in the postseason. Trevor Ariza from 12 points in the regular season or 11 to 8, and not shooting well, either one of them. Those guys are going to have to step up if they're going to have a chance to beat Golden State.
I think this series goes down to the team that's the hungriest. And I pay attention to Houston because their legacies are on line right now, James and CP. They're playing for something more than just a normal playoff series. They're playing for how you define their career when they're done. I think this is their opportunity. I like their relationship with each other because I think they get along, even though there's adversity that comes during the course of a season and guys tend to bicker and fray a little bit. They're competitive and they're playing for how you view them when this all said and done. And I think they won a championship.
We're giving Boston a chance to beat LeBron because Brad Stevens. I mean, if you put Nate McMillan there, if you put Terry Stott in, we would like LeBron to win this series. A big part of that component is Brad Stevens will steal games. Listen, when I say Mike D'Antoni, what's the first thing you think about?
Choke in the playoffs.
Okay, so I get the better team. and the better coach and the 4 stars and championship experience, I don't think it's that competitive.
Is he going to make any adjustments? I mean, any major adjustments throughout this series?
We said that with Utah. We said that Mike D'Antoni doesn't have any adjustments, and they went to Utah and won 2 games. Like, they showed you that they can turn it up defensively and make defensive adjustments with the staff that he's put together now. I don't think he has the same staff in Phoenix. I think his staff has gotten better, and he's able to do different things than he did before.
I like Dahntay's point about Chris Paul and James Harden's legacies being on the line. Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson have established their legacy. Kevin Durant, to some degree, has established. And so Dahntay's point, which I tend to agree with, Paul and Harden are just going to be more desperate and more hungry. So I think that's going to be their advantage. They're going to be willing to do things. They'll come out of character, and I do think we're going to see more of them both playing at a high level because just the stakes are so high, and I think they're competitive.
I think you made a great point about why Golden State has 4 stars. But Draymond and Klay, to a lesser extent, are stars because, as you said, they're winning. Like, if Houston wins, Capella's going to be viewed as a star. Like, he gives you that. And if Eric Gordon plays well, he could be, so it really is 2 franchise players, Steph and KD, against 2 franchise players in Houston. So that evens it out a little bit. That's a good
They
point.
mirror the Golden State Warriors of last year for us. When we played them in the championship last year, you saw it in their eyes. They had what we call get back. Like, we punched them in the face the year before, and they were waiting a whole year to get us back and to win something that they thought that we took back from them. You see that in Houston this year. You see CP and James wanting something more than just a normal winning of a playoff series. They're hungry. They have this thirst that you only comes around for one particular team in a season. And I don't see the same thing I saw in Golden State last year. KD had the adversity of him changing teams and him being the bad guy last year, and he wanted to get that off his back, get that off his chest, and to use the championship to do that. I think I see that in Houston this year.